The story of England, step by step towards empire. The story of England is essentially a tale of survival and constant renewal. For centuries, this island has been like a massive mountain, where every newcomer added a new stone upon the previous ones. 1. Laying the foundations, Romans and urban culture. It all began when Britain separated from the European mainland and became an island. The first serious steps were taken by the Romans. When they fully occupied the island in 43 AD, they brought not only their soldiers, but also their baths, functional roads, and urban planning. Today's great capital, London, was then a small Roman centre called Londinium. However, as the Roman Empire began to collapse, the soldiers withdrew from the island without looking back. 2. The birth of English, Anglo-Saxons, and barbarian invasions. A power vacuum emerged after the Romans left. Seeing this, Germanic tribes, Angles and Saxons, crossed the seas and made this place their home. These people were warriors, but also farmers. They pushed the Celts to the edges of the island, such as Wales and Scotland, and spread their own language. The word English originates from the Anglo tribe. In other words, the seeds of today's language were sown back then. 3. Viking pressure and Alfred the Great. In the 800s, the next wave of invasions came from the north, Denmark and Norway. The Vikings posed a serious problem. They would dock at ports with their ships and loot everything. At that time, England consisted of 7 different small kingdoms, and the Vikings defeated nearly all of them. Only the Kingdom of Wessex survived. Alfred the Great gathered his army in the forests and won a great victory against the Vikings, becoming one of the greatest heroes in English history. In 927, his grandson Athelstan united all the factions and established the first true Kingdom of England. 4. 1066, the French touch and the Norman conquest. Just as England had become fully English, everything changed in 1066. The Normans, coming from France, defeated the English at the Battle of Hastings and took over the administration. William the Conqueror was declared king and replaced the entire noble class with Frenchmen. As a result, many words in English today, such as law and court, are of French origin. While the common people spoke English, the court spoke French. This situation made English culture much more complex and rich. 5. Crises and change, Magna Carta and the plague. In the Middle Ages, England both grew and suffered. In 1215, under pressure from barons rather than the common people, the Magna Carta was signed. This document signaled that the king's word was subject to the law. The seeds of modern democracy were sown here. In the 1340s, the Black Death, plague, wiped out half the population. With no laborers left, the surviving peasants began to speak up, saying, "Our value has increased," and demanded more rights. This was the sound of the end of feudalism. 6. The Tudors and mastery of the seas. During the reign of Henry VIII, England broke away from the Catholic Church and charted its own path. Henry's daughter, Elizabeth I, was a true Iron Lady. During her time, England demonstrated its power at sea by defeating the Great Spanish Armada. The first colonies began to be established in the Americas. While Shakespeare's plays filled the theaters, England was taking strong steps toward becoming a world power. 7. The Industrial Revolution and the Modern Age. In the late 1700s, something happened in England. The steam engine was invented. This was the first step of the Industrial Revolution. England became the workshop of the world. They built an empire on which the sun never sets, stretching from India to Australia. However, the 2 great world wars of the 20th century took a heavy toll on England. The empire gradually dissolved, but it left behind a language and culture that is still a global standard today.